Hell yeah.
Tim, let me ask you this, man. Where is this conversation for you originating from? You in your homeland of Montana?
Yeah, I'm in a town of 44 people. That is the world famous Big Hole River in the yard back there. This is
Dude, it's like right up in your business.
Yeah, and this is where Chief Joseph had one of his last battles. I will fight no more forever. It was about 30 miles from here where he fought the cavalry and then said, I will fight no more forever, and disappeared in Canada. So it's very historic, very sacred Native American grounds. It's pretty cool being here.
It's cool to have you here. My journey started in Portland, Oregon, and then we moved to Seattle, like Bellevue, Washington. But dude, I'm telling you this. The reason why I'm telling you this is because when I was like 7, 8, 10 years old, we would get on a train and we would go to Big Mountain in
Whitefish.
Montana. Yeah, Whitefish, Montana, and we would go.
Yeah,
we would go skiing there, and we would always take the train to and from. I guess we would leave out of Seattle and go to Big Mountain.
Funny story. I got on the train when I was 5 or 6 and rode from Whitefish to Seattle and hung out with my sister. So I rode that train the opposite direction. Pretty wild.
I love that part of the country. Now I'm home base for my superstar wife and I is in Chicago, but on quite a few stations around the country. And it brings us to our conversation about look at Tim Montana, iHeartRadio on the Verge artist.
Crazy, right?
It's cool. It's cool.
Tell them my kids to respect me more, but they don't.
Oh, dude, of course they wouldn't. But your journey started so long ago for you now to be for our On the Verge artist. But like your story started a hot second ago. This isn't like, this isn't new to you. What, 2008 was the first full length for you?
Yeah, I think 07. And then David Letterman put me on the Late Show in 2008. And I've just had this crazy journey of, I don't think anything was for granted. And I think I laid a nice brick foundation, and either I'm too dumb to quit or I'm just a driven dude.
No, you're driven, dude. And I love that. I love, because I read about that. And, part of doing an interview is obviously looking at your backstory, but it includes Letterman. It includes the band ZZ Top. Were you on the ZZ Top Skinner tour at any point this year?
No. Uncle Cracker got that spot. I started with them in 2013. I think it was Beer Drinkers and it was Hellraisers too, or something like that. We went all across North America, and
cool.
We cultivated this amazing friendship with Billy, and yeah, him and I he's one of my best friends on earth, and I adore that man.
I love that. And this interview is about you and me talking, but I also don't feel like your story can be told without talking about a Letterman, without talking about Billy. And these are like pieces of your story that I think are kind of pretty badass. Because I think we, and so I'm just, I do rock radio and alternative radio, but like my story includes some pretty cool things that have made me who I am now. And the same goes for you, man.
Yeah, true. Without these people, finding you and me and helping us, guiding us and taking us under their wing for years, it's you wouldn't be here. So
your song, Devil You Know, can we talk about that video for a hot second?
Yeah.
It's intense. It made me a little uncomfortable with that little kid and his dad giving him the business. And I hate this. I hate asking, hey, what was your inspiration for that? Because I think it's kind of a lame question, but like, what in the hell was the inspiration for that video? Obviously the words in your song, but like the video hits pretty hard.
Yeah, I went through that stuff and I wanted to.
So you're this. Okay. Yep.
That little kid is my son, and my wife called me and she's like, hey, I know you need therapy, but if my child has a really nice life, because it was an intense scene where including the director started crying, and she said, I was there kind of, this is similar to how it happened to me as a kid. I remember lamps getting broken and guitars ripped out of my hand, and what are you going to be, a rock star when you grow up? And my room destroyed and just decimated, and it was unfortunate and terrible, and I hope no one goes through that, but it kind of shaped the man I am today, and I get to be the dad that I never had. And my birth father died when I was a young age. He went to jail, and then a new stepdad. It was rough, man, and a lot of kids go through that, and I hope that video can inspire, not scare everybody, but inspire. Like, man, music was my thing that saved my life for so long, and forever I had to fight to play guitar, and I'd get my guitars taken away, and then I'd have to sneak them out the window of a trailer house, and my mom would smuggle them to school, and these teachers would give me notes because I wasn't allowed to play music in that trailer house. they'd write notes that said I had to do history assignments, and they let me go plug in a guitar in the auto shop room. And in math class, they'd let me go to the choir room and secretly play music because they knew this kid needed it, So I had to tell that story, the devil, and the devil you don't, and I just wanted to be honest with people, and it was not fun doing it, but hopefully it inspires somebody.
I just met you on a Zoom call 5 minutes ago, and man, that's a deep dive, like an express deep dive into your childhood, your upbringing, and it's intense, and it sort of makes my eyes water a little bit, dude. I'm not trying to be a softie about it, but there's nothing wrong with being a softie, by the way. I just appreciate that. And then you mentioned shop class. Dude, my high school had a shop class. We also had a woodworking class. And I don't know if high schools have that anymore, but like I come from a woodworking family in Vancouver, Washington, across the Columbia from Portland, and cabinet makers. And you don't learn those skills, I don't think, in high school anymore. And same with shop class or auto class. That's interesting.
Montana, half of our high school in Butte, Montana was welding and wood shop.
Oh yeah.
Shop, and I took advantage of all those classes because I was not a book smart guy.
Yeah, me too.
I'd go there and work on rigs and do welding, and we had fun burning each other in welding class.
Dude, come on, man.
I loved it. So I was always like, yeah, let's play with fire.
Yeah. You have a lot of roots though in country music too.
Yeah, I lived in Nashville for 17 years, but I've always scared people there. They're like, you headbang too much, you cuss, you're a little aggressive. And then finally I'm like, I found the lane I grew up in. Weird.
Dude. So do you split time between Montana and Nashville?
We just moved here. Yes, I do split time, but we just moved here full time. So my kids will go to school here. It's getting to the point
yeah, they will.
City stuff. And I have a project I'm working on with Mr. Gibbons up here, a little music venue type thing. We'll tell more about that later, but sure. So my family's here. I'm super excited. I've got my mom's here, and with the same trailer I grew up in, and I do have to tell you the story where I got to take my family to see the Foo Fighters. They played in Big Sky, Montana a few weeks ago, and my 15-year-old daughter got into Nirvana and the Foos over COVID, and she didn't want to tell me because it wasn't cool listening to the music that your dad grew up listening to, right? She was like, do not tell dad. And she was hiding Nirvana shirts, and I could hear
no way.
In her room, she's playing piano and guitar and learning the same songs I did. So I took her to Big Sky, and everyone asked me, did you tell Dave Grohl about your single? And I said, no, I let Dave Grohl visit with my daughter because I knew what that would mean to her. And so it was just her and Dave just chopping it up, right, for 10 minutes talking about music. And she went home to the same single wide trailer house that I have so many bad memories in, right? I have so much bad stuff there. But I overcame that, and she went in the back bedroom where there's still a Hit Parader poster from when I was 15 of Kurt Cobain. And she sat there on her guitar and learned Everlong. And I came in and started bawling because I'm like, I learned that song at the same age, and this trailer things were different. And she's like, Dad, get out of here. Don't cry. Why are you crying? And I'm like, I'm sorry. And she's like, don't cry in here. And I'm like, but you got to meet the guy. I didn't get to meet the guy. I had to like idolize him, dude. And it was just so like wild that she learned that song in that room, in that trailer under way
That's the way it was supposed to play out. That's right. It wasn't, you've done some time, I think, in Memphis with Dave Grohl. That particular show in Montana was about your daughter and bonding. And, normally you hear kids wearing those Nirvana shirts or Metallica shirts. And then if you ask them, hey, what's your favorite song? Oh, I just like the shirt. It was the opposite with your daughter. She didn't want you to know that she was like, there was an underground rumbling of her love of that music. I fucking love hearing that.
Yeah. And Pat Smear grabbed her too, because I said, hey, Pat, she got it in Nirvana, and he had a cigarette and a champagne glass. He goes, where is she? And he rolled right up to her and is like, dude,
yeah, man.
Like, Savannah's like an African cat, right? That's far out. And I just saw her face and beat red because she loves Unplugged in New York, and she's just sitting there with two dudes from those iconic videos.
Yeah, that's incredible.
I just watched. I'm like, I want her to have this moment with these guys. So it was pretty cool.
I love that story, and I appreciate you telling that story. Conversely, my mom is 80. She's got her two favorite bands, AC/DC and Foo Fighters. And she lives in Atlanta, but the Foos were up in Milwaukee for that Harley Davidson homecoming show. maybe 6 weeks ago, and I took her to that, and it was a goosebump moment for me when they came out, and I'm behind my mom, and she's just like this, and she started to kind of tear up and cry a little bit, and I was like, that's a bucket list show for my mom. I love to be the one to experience that with her.
Right.
And sure enough, when Dave introduces the band, of course they go around, and then Josh freezes. I mean, come on, who else needs to be behind those drums after what had happened, right? Incredible. Pat Smear has a bottle of Vouv in one hand, and and a cigarette in the other, and he's playing his guitar with the bottle. And I'm like, so when you say he had a champagne glass, I know he had a champagne glass. I love that.
Oh, dude, he's constantly. We stood on stage, and it was a very small stage, and I've stood side stage with them a bunch of times now, but never a stage that small. So I was like 4 feet from the champagne bottle, and he's just
I love it.
Yeah, just being Pat, man. Cigarette lit, just champagne, just smiling. It's so cool.
Dude, I love this, that you and I are in the middle of a get to know you phase. And I know this is not going to be the last conversation you and I have. You better not hang up this call and say, well, damn, Klinger, this guy sucks. Like,
never.
I love a conversation like this. I love telling your story. And dude, I can't wait to play your song. I want you to tell me about your band, because the song we're talking about, Devil You Know, man, it starts off, it's you, it's a guitar, and it's your voice under the spotlight. And then the band kicks in, and you guys, like, the music to that song is badass. Even, let alone your voice. So, like, where are you handpicking these dudes?
Those guys I've had for a while. I've always had metal drummers in the band, and one of the first drummers I had was from the band OTEP, and we met in Los Angeles when I went to Musicians Institute. So I've always had double kick in my band, terrifying people at these festivals.
I hear it, dude. So
yeah, so I've got a great group of guys that like to just lay it down, and my drummer's just a nutbag. His name's Kyle, and he wears these goofy outfits, and he's ripping cigarettes and just smashing, the double kick back there. And I've always had that in my band. And anytime I'll do like a country festival, people in the crowd are like, just scaring little old ladies in Iowa. I love it.
So, I love hearing that.
Yeah, and then with this track, it was wild because I went and cut it in my buddy's Tough Shed in Nashville, and he lives up the street from me. And
of course you did.
Yeah, everyone's like, hey, you have to do it this way, and you have to use these players. And I was like, I don't really want to do that. I want to do it with me and my pal. Our daughters play together. We both have little girls as well. I have 4 kids, by the way. And so our kids played together outside as we recorded Devil You Know in his studio. And if you hear that storm in the beginning, that was the day I wrote the song. This storm came in that was just bizarre. It was like a beautiful sunny day, and here comes just darkness in the sky, and the birds were still chirping because they were completely unaware of. I'm like, wow, you guys better shut up. This shit's about to go wild. And so I'm like, let's mic the storm. I'm playing guitar. And it was just so organic how that came about, and there were like weird things happening while we were recording it, and then playing, putting down the acoustic, and then we stacked the electrics, and then we just went heavy, like just turned in the heaviest song that we could, but with like pretty moments, and some of those dynamics of like starting quiet. I mean, that's me spending a lifetime listening to grunge music. Start soft, hit them hard, go soft, go hard.
I like it.
Yeah, I kind of modeled that after listening to Nirvana my whole life. So
I like you also pivoting real quick and saying, let's mic up this storm. Like, I didn't know that. I just figured that was kind of a manufactured studio thing.
Oh, that was the storm that came in.
That's pretty neat, dude.
Yeah. All that was. And the producer, Michael Wilshire, it's interesting. A lot of guys don't like to record songs they're not a co-writer on. And we had different plans that afternoon. I wrote the song in the morning, and that afternoon we had different plans of writing another song. And I started playing what I'd written that morning. And he's like, what is that? And I was like, it's called Devil You Know. I don't know what do you think. And he goes, I think it's a hit. And he shut down everything he was doing and just put a mic on me and let me just roll. And that's when we had to stop for a minute because of the storm. And I'm like, record the storm. So all that is the day the song was written. Most of that was recorded in a Tough Shed, not some fancy studio. Now we did go after the fact and get big drums on it in a studio.
I understand that.
Yeah. But that came the day we wrote it. So it's just kind of magic happened. So
I love that. So there's no co-writer. This is all you.
No, there's co-writers on it. Yeah. I did write that with a couple of buddies that morning.
You did. Oh, that morning. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
That's got to be kind of cool, because I always feel like I mean, whether it's Brent from Shinedown or Sean from Seether or Dave Grohl or uh, James and Metallica. I love when musicians pull the curtain back a little bit on the songwriting process, because like when I hear, let's talk about your song. When I hear Devil You Know, I'm hanging on. Well, I watched the video to hear the song, and I kind of put that together and paint that picture that you've sort of laid out for us. But I hear that and I'm like, God, I mean, I to hear that you actually did that in a morning, it's like that's wild shit,
Yeah,
because
right.
now that song is it's made, and it's just going to start to do its time. And when we hear songs outside of your camp, we hear your songs, they become our songs.
Right. Right. Yeah, and I
So to
hate to
think,
tell people what to think of a song too, because
no, yeah,
it
yeah, yeah,
means
yeah,
something different to you than it does to me. For me,
yeah,
it's
man,
I told you in the music video what that song's about for me, but I
yeah,
hope for other people they find an attachment to it that could be a different situation, completely different. Could be a
yeah.
relationship, whatever. It doesn't have to be. So I write kind of these, I don't know, I channel the inner child in that trailer one because I haven't had a lot of heartbreak and stuff. I've got a great wife. We've been married a long time, but
Oh
I
man,
think of 15-year-old Tim and those feelings I had of being the kid that wasn't wanted for a long time. And so I'm able to write from that because that stuff doesn't leave you. And that's kind of
mm-hmm.
therapeutic for me to
Mm-hmm.
tell that story. So
Thank you for saying that.
yeah.
Um, I want to pivot, because in the radio business, this is the only job I've ever had, man. Um, when sponsors come knocking and they want somebody like Klinger to do a campaign, we call them endorsements.
Okay.
So I've got an endorsement with DraftKings. I got an endorsement with Wendy's. I got an endorsement with Hyundai.
Make that money, son.
I'm making it. You know where I'm going with this? Because you've got like a side hustle with all of your partnerships. And number
Yes.
one, Traeger grills. And I want to talk about that because we're rolling out right now with a Weber. I love a Weber, dude. I love a charcoal Weber. Um, I'm fascinated by a Traeger grill and the pellet portion of it.
Yeah.
But you use that as a partnership to make badass meat. Is that correct?
Correct. And that kept my band on the road for all these years. I took all that money and pay a band and pay for tours with that. And I didn't call anybody and say, I didn't know what that world was. The Nitro Circus guys became friends of mine 10 years ago. Travis Pastrana, best dude in action sports. They showed up and said, hey, you should check out this grill. And I'm like, okay. And I just started making a video cooking. I've always been fascinated with meat and
Yeah,
barbecue, but I
yeah.
wasn't good at it. I started making content. And then all of a sudden, it moves into a full sponsorship and I just keep my tour funded. I just stayed alive. I was like, if I can stay in the game long enough, however that money kind of flows in through these
Mm-hmm,
brands, then I can,
mm-hmm.
have another shot at music. I can make it another 6 months. I can make it another year. And then from Traeger came a call from Snap-on Tools. Dude, you're a wild man. You're great on camera. Would you do a Snap-on Tools
But
commercial?
what is a musician? And I'm playing devil's advocate, man. What does a musician have to do with Snap-on tools? How are you using that in your daily life?
I mean, I drive my own tour bus. I have a CDL, and up in
Yes.
Montana, I learned to
I
rent
asked
some
that
stuff.
question knowing the answer, dude. So that's called me throwing the fast pitch and you
Oh
hitting it out
yeah,
of the park.
yeah.
No, I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah. I'm one of those guys. I'm hands on all pieces of my business. I don't try not to
Yeah.
rely on anybody to do anything. But I'm not a certified mechanic. But you know what? I can find my way around that bus. I travel with a lot of tools. And I
Yeah.
went and did all the driver training. So I got a passenger endorsement. I can drive a school bus, a tour bus. And I love that because all these other artists are like, dude, you're wild. And I'm like, yeah, at 4 a.m. This sucks.
Don't you like having your hands on? I mean, it's like any other business. I mean, you're in a business, dude.
Correct.
Um, and it's like, I don't know, it's maybe like a family run business where the the owners of the business have children, but you're not going to take over this business until you start in the mailroom, and then maybe you run a route, and then maybe you're on the production line, and you know what I mean. And it sounds like you're sort of like that because
Yeah.
you are well rounded enough to do all those aspects.
Yeah. Yeah.
So why
And
the fuck wouldn't a Snap-on tool campaign make sense?
yeah. Yeah. It was great. And one day my wife was arguing with me on the phone about God knows what. And she goes, son of a bitch. And I said, what? And she goes, a semi just passed me with your face on the side of it. And I was like,
Stop. So it's to that point.
yeah, they put me on the side of like 2,500 trucks in the country, and it was just really funny because people in Nashville are just like, huh? Like what is he doing
Good
now?
for
And
you,
I'm like,
man.
maybe
Good
I'm
on
rolling
you.
with it. And guess what? I'm still in the game because I know how to
Yeah.
hustle. If anything, I know how to work hard.
I love hearing that. And I don't need to go down the laundry because it is sort of a laundry list of your partnerships. But Black Rifle Coffee Company, first of all, I love how that was founded. And my brother Chris, who lives in Woodstock, Georgia, just north of Atlanta, um, bought me. He loves coffee, and so every Christmas he'll get me a different gift card to a different company. And 2 Christmases ago, he introduced me to Black Rifle, and I was like, "Well," he's like, "Well, they got cool merch too, but some badass coffee." And you dig a little deeper into that company, and dude, it seems to make sense with who you are.
Yeah, veteran support, and I go up and do
Yeah,
a lot
man.
of charity stuff, and I love that's my thing I love doing is supporting veterans. I got so many friends that have served, and I just want to, someone said a long time ago, it's our duty to serve those that serve us. And Black Rifle is a great example of that. And getting to work with operators that, hit it out of the park with this business
Yeah.
model. And, they have such a massive following of military veterans. So they plug my music, and they've also, helped keep me. The reason I'm here today is because of brands like that supporting me that just helped me keep doing my thing and moving the ball, even if it was an inch at a time. There was always forward movement. Some guys would rocket past me, and I'm like, that's okay. I'm going to focus. I'm going to grind. I know if I can stay in the game another 6 months, I can make another record in a tool shed full of Snap-on.
Dude, I love that. I love that because that is sort of like, don't get me wrong, it's sort of like you're playing a little bit of the short game initially. 6 more months so I can make another record, and then we'll look to the next one. And it's like this is all fueling where we are in 2023. And I know this is kind of like going down your life story, but again, this is the first time you and I have talked. It's going to hit a lot of eyes and ears. Certainly, your song is our On the Verge artist, and I wanted to be the one to tell your story. So we're kind of going a little bit longer form.
Yeah.
I look forward to the next conversation wherever that is. And I want to see you in concert too. Is that because I looked at your Instagram and you're on a stage with a dirt bike blasting over the back of you? Is that Nitro Circus?
Yeah, that's Travis Pastrana. So
hell yeah, it is. That is
yeah.
a badass
Well,
concert, dude.
he used to hang out with other bands, and he goes, man, they just get scared of the stuff I do. And then he decided he wanted to backflip the band, and he was injured. He had like a broken back and pelvis, and he wasn't supposed to be riding. And he goes, if anybody's jumping Tim, it's me. And he comes off this ramp, and I noticed his RPMs on his bike were a little lower than the other guys. And he damn near hit the bass player with his tire. And I'm like, oh my God, Travis, what are you doing? He's like, if any band's cool with it, it's you guys. Because I grew up in the hometown of Evel Knievel. So I'm just used to like chaos. And then I got into, I do a little bit of race car stuff. We went to the Mint 400. I got first place, no big deal.
Shut up, dude.
I came back and Pastrana, somebody texted and said, your boy just won the first time in the celebrity cards ever got first place in the finish line. Now, granted, there were only 5 people in my category, but they were all pro racers. And those guys were just sitting there like, this nutbag just got the first place trophy.
Hell yeah, he did.
In Vegas. And Travis goes, of course he did. He's psychotic.
I love it. And there's no way I'm going to let you, there's no way in hell, Tim, I'm going to let you off the hook when you bring up an Evel Knievel reference, because you and I may be close in age. And I will tell you, I had the Evel Knievel with the built-in ramp, and you'd wind that thing up and let it go.
Yeah.
If you follow Evel Knievel's page on Instagram, it's all people like us with their kids using this, taking slow-mo videos and posting it to Evel Knievel's page. I love Evel Knievel.
Yeah. Butte, Montana. Funny story.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, my mom went on a date with him when she was 16.
All right. Slow it down.
Yeah, my mom went on a date with him to Whitehall, Montana when she was 16.
Okay.
Wasn't a great date. I'm not going to go any further than that. But years later, the date started with Mary, can I take you dancing? And she did not have a great time. And then she didn't talk to him for a long time. And then years later, I was like 5 or 6, and he came up to us and said, Mary, and goes, I'd love to take you dancing. And she goes, I heard that before, Bob. It was like 50 years before that. And it was so funny. But he took me to breakfast. He gave me a coin, bought me breakfast once. So he was just like around my hometown. And then I learned to become a live performer at this event that's no longer called Evel Knievel Days. They'd always have me headline in my hometown, Butte, Montana. there'd be a massive crowd of like 10,000 people. And that's where I cultivated my live performance stuff. And, I'm high energy on stage, and I attribute a lot of that to growing up around madmen in Montana that would just send it on motorcycles, and
I love it.
A different level of crazy. And it makes sense that Evel Knievel's from Butte, Montana. It's wild. So,
dude, I can't wait to see it. What is what was there? You don't have a lot of tour dates between now and the end of the year, dude.
We're going to start announcing stuff. Yeah. I'm getting the family established here in Montana, getting everybody set up and rock and roll, because I know next year I'm going to be gone a lot. So,
will you be in Chicago?
I'm sure I will. Shall we hang out? Do you want to do?
I would love it.
Do you want
That's what I'm getting
jump some motorcycles or do some burnouts or something?
Yeah. I don't ride street bikes, but I like dirt bikes, and I'm not very good at it, but I like it.
Yeah. Okay.
That's all I got for you, man. I'm really glad that we connected. Thank you very much. Cause I never talked to you before, and I am stoked, and
I am so stoked.
I'm towing the company line and proud of it when I tell you that you're our on the verge artist. Let's get some spins and let's introduce people to your music, because you know what? There's always an entry point, right, for anybody. So if they hear it on an iHeartRadio station over the next month, that's cool. Yeah, they're hearing it. And ultimately, let's get them to buy, convert them into fans and buy a concert ticket, maybe a t-shirt, maybe music.
Yeah, man, I'm so stoked, honored to have this finally happen. So I really appreciate you guys.
I'm excited for you, dude. So congrats. And man, I can't wait to meet you in person and drink a cold beer.
Likewise. Oh boy, let's do it.
Let's do it. Bud, thanks for your time.
Thank you, man. Really appreciate it.
And scene. Dude, I hope you enjoyed this shit as much as I did, because I never met you, man. The one thing I fucking wanted to ask you was that barbecue competition with Dave Grohl.
Yeah.
Didn't you do it in Memphis?
Yeah, Memphis in May.
I didn't put the two together until I'm reading your story, and he was there because I guess he likes cooking barbecue, and he'll put those latex gloves on and get to work feeding people.
Yes. Yeah. And then, so I met him there playing the Traeger tent, and he walked up. I had an acoustic guitar. I heard he was there, and I told my drummer, I'm like, I bet our paths collide. And he's like, at this point, I'm not going to say no, because this weird shit happens to you all the time. And he shows up, hat pulled down low, dirty chucks, cigarette. And I'm like, that's a Dave Grohl. I saw him. And he walks up and goes, what is the drum? And I'm like, it's a cajon. And he goes, can I play one with you? And I said, yeah. And he goes, what do you want to play? And I said, Smells Like Teen Spirit. And he said, go fuck yourself. That was
Are you serious?
He did not want to play Nirvana. And I had a feeling that maybe I shouldn't ask for that. Then I looked him right in the eye and said, House of the Rising Sun by the Animals is my mom's favorite song. And he goes, yeah, let's do it. So there's a video on YouTube where he's just hammering the shit out of this cajon. We play House of the Rising Sun. He said, let's walk the river in Memphis. I want to hear your life story. And I'm like, damn it, Dave, I've been waiting, my entire life for you to ask me that. So I told him the whole story, like beginning, like no electricity, Nirvana, lanterns, candles. And he's like, that's fucking crazy, dude. And he goes, I'm going to keep you around. So next thing I know, I'm on the private jet flying from Memphis to Sonic Temple. And he's like, I want you to see my world. And he put me side stage. I'm there with Pauly Shore, headbanging, side stage of the Foo Fighters. I'm like, well, this escalated fast. So
why do you suppose it did?
I don't know. I think he saw some of himself in me. And, and he told me that he texted me at like 4 a.m. that night and said, there's not a lot of renegades and rebels left in this business. I'm going to keep you around. You're the real deal. So that is,
maybe that's how we end this conversation.
Yeah.
That's like,
put that on my gravestone someday.
I mean, I got to ask you, this will be my last question, but were you shitting your pants when he's like, yo, let's walk the river and tell me your story? And then you're on a jet with him a couple of hours later. Who gets that? Whose world are you in, man?
Yeah, that was really bizarre. So
love it. In all seriousness, I love that. I love that for you, because again, our paths are all different.
Right. Right. And getting to collide with that guy was wild.
Yeah. Good on you, dude.
Yeah. Then I went and barbecued out in California with him for a charity thing called the Love Ride. And Taylor Hawkins was there with Chevy Metal. And it's just wild, man. Got to cook with him all night. And yeah, great memories. Good dude. Met my hero.
Good on you. I'm happy for you. And I'm stoked to see what the rest of this year looks like for you. And in 2024, maybe 2024 is the year that you and I connect in concert, so I can stand in front of the stage and watch you guys get buck wild.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll let her fly.
Tim, I hope you enjoy this conversation as much as I do, and don't feel like I'm pressuring you to say, "Fuck yeah, Klinger, you're the shit."
Fuck yeah, Klinger, you're the shit.
We're gonna edit that together. Hey, dude, I'm serious. Thank you for the time, man. This is cool as crap, and I am stoked that we get to bang your song for a couple of weeks and really kind of put that spotlight on you and that beautiful beard.
Oh man, thank you. Spirit came here to party.